I'm always ready.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Padre's Ponderings.
Slid in under the wire.
Nice to see you today.
It's good to see you too. You got on your
I got on my
Nancy Sinatra boots today.
These boots are made for walking.
I remember it. Long ago and far away. Wasn't much of a song though. Didn't have about 8 words.
These boots are made for walking.
Say it over and over.
That's just what they'll do.
Yeah, that's the way.
They'll walk all over you, and that's
the whole song.
I know that song.
That's the whole song, all 8 words.
Yeah. I'm wearing winter, but longing for spring.
I like whatever season we're in, you know.
That's good.
Just go with the flow.
I prefer the heat, but
you can't be longing for what isn't. You got to deal with here we are.
Today
is drippy outside and all the rest of that, and so today you may need an umbrella. Unless you're svelte like me, you can run between the drops. You know, that's gonna be quick. That's how those mosquitoes do it. They fly between the drops. Have you ever wonder about that?
Not really.
When it's a storm and rain, how does a mosquito keep from getting nailed by those raindrops? See, they fly between the drops. They're that quick reflex-wise, I think. Otherwise, they'd be piled up on the curb. Dead mosquitoes killed by the rain. Another story, anyway. What you got on your
you're feeling kind of punchy today, aren't you?
I'm always up.
This is the food bank update.
Food bank. They're rolling, aren't they?
Man, 180 families went through yesterday. 546 bags were donated. Amazing. Needs this week, so go ahead and start planning for this. Elbow macaroni, rice, jelly, canned vegetables, ravioli, and Pop-Tarts.
You know, I'm amazed the Pop-Tarts fit into that thing.
I was having a conversation with somebody about that the other day.
Really? You know, you look at that ravioli and Pop-Tarts. Meal of champions.
Pop-Tarts come in 2 in a pack. So if you have multiple family members, 2 could be fed by 1 pack, is what I was thinking.
Okay. But they're not all that big, are they?
It's been a long time since I've had a Pop-Tart. Not that big.
Okay. All right, 2 little people.
Yeah.
All right, what else you got? Stephen Ministry.
Stephen Ministry, yes, it's the Stephen Ministry card, and we talked about this pretty frequently at the beginning of starting Padre's Ponderings and at the beginning of COVID. We're almost a year in.
A year on March the 16th.
I know. Man. So, I grabbed it.
And I saw where Beaufort County just renewed their mask mandate till mid-April.
Oh. Okay, we won't go into a whole lot about that, but wow, a year.
So I say that just to say they're not thinking it's going to be over with any time in the next month or 2. No.
So in that, thinking about that, so we've been in this for a year. Some of you have been isolated truly for a year. And we have this ministry, and they are trained. They're actually training new caregivers right now. 14 total.
14 new ones, yeah.
Every week. So just a tremendous ministry, huge help for pastoral care and clergy. But if you feel like that you would like somebody to walk through this season with you and on the back side of this season with you, because there are a lot of needs out there, and you're not alone.
See, that's
even
the thing
though you feel like it.
You know, that God fronts the blessing. He gives us the blessing before we need the blessing. And that idea, we don't have enough care receivers right now for the current Stephen Ministry and another 14 or 15 of them. But I think God's fronting the Stephen Ministries because when we start coming out of this thing, people are going to want somebody to be with them in person, you know. And I think the needs are going to be there in huge numbers when we come out of this. And there'll be a lot of needs when we come out of this. People are paying a price for the self-isolation, an emotional, psychological price and all that.
Yeah. So if you are interested, it's completely confidential. You can send an email to info@thechurchofthecross.net, and then I will forward that straight to, you don't even have to explain. Just say, interested in Stephen Ministry, and I'll forward your email. And then Sally Brock, Laura Strange, oh my gosh, there's another one.
Kay Halverson.
Kay Halverson lead that ministry. They do a tremendous job, and they would love to hear from you. So, plug for Stephen Ministry. It's been really interesting since I've started working at the church, really to get to know that ministry a little bit more.
Great ministries, and
Oh, yeah.
you know, that's one of the ones under that pastoral care umbrella that Tom and Terry are working with, and great things happening. Been working on my
Yeah, we got something coming up on Sunday.
rector's reports.
Did you plan that specifically on Valentine's Day so you could share the love with everyone? You didn't even know it was Valentine's Day.
Really?
Yeah,
Sunday?
it is. Sunday's Valentine's Day.
I just said
Every day is Valentine's Day to you.
Well, there you go. I didn't make the connection. I knew it was Valentine's Day was the 14th. I didn't connect it. That's when I was doing it. But that's a sweet thought.
Yeah.
You needn't expect pink balloons to be there, though. I'm not into all that stuff, or the paper heart cutouts and arrows, and I'm not into that stuff. But that's coming up, taking shape. Looking back and looking ahead. That's it.
I was talking to some ministry leaders, just letting them know annual reports are coming up, and a couple of them were like, well, there's nothing to write. I'm like, oh, but there is. Start really thinking about it.
Oh.
We didn't shut down. There's a lot to talk about.
That's exactly right. We didn't shut down. And I think that's a unique feature that happened here. We didn't shut down. We just shifted gears and started moving in a different direction to accomplish the same purposes. You know, you can get to Columbia by scooting up the interstate, or you can go by way of Charleston or Savannah or something like that. But we were going straight up the interstate. Now we have to go some kind of sideways, deviate around, but we're still accomplishing the same purposes. We're just doing them in a little bit different way. So, just like the Stephen Ministry didn't stop.
Right.
They kept plowing right on. So, working on that.
Miss Cindy Watts is watching. Good afternoon, Cindy. And she said that she has benefited from Stephen Ministries where she is. So thank you for sharing that.
It's a big ministry, not particular. It's in many denominations, so it's not just an Anglican thing.
Right. Thank you for sharing that, though. So speaking of doing things a different way, your sermon on this week was at Cross Point, this past Sunday, Cross Point in the chapel. And one thing that you said that I want you to unpack a little bit more that really stuck, and I'm going to paraphrase it because I don't remember exactly what you said. But how in the season ahead, we're going to have to surrender. I don't know if you said surrender our memories.
Yeah.
So unpack that a little bit.
Well, one of the things that memories can do is memories can be chains. See? Memories can be chains. And for many people, they are chains. And their best years, and this is particularly true as you get a little bit older, you know, you think about the best days are behind you, and you want today to look like when you were 21, you know, in every way, and you look in the mirror and you don't like this wrinkle and that wrinkle, so you get some Botox or you get something to cover it up or whatever like that, because you're trying to recreate something that you think is better than today. And it's that way in churches. You know, we're going to be adopting, you know, this whole idea of printed materials and all that. Those are things that are going to be gone with the wind. You know, we know we don't have to have those anymore. We've adjusted to it. We're a visual congregation. We're a visual people now and all. So if your memory is of coming into church and picking up a hymn book, well, those books aren't there now, and they're not coming back. And you couldn't read music anyway. See, you could count the page numbers, but you couldn't read the music. It was just it was like a kind of a crutch kind of thing. But it was a memory from your childhood when everybody could read music. Now less than 5% of adults can read music. But it was a memory that you're hanging on to. You got to be willing to surrender your memories. You know, and we surrender our memories. I remember when the air conditioning came in cars, nobody ever had that. But they were willing to get one of those air conditioners because it was convenient and they liked being cool instead of hot. But when it comes to the church, you know, like your mama she didn't used to have a microwave. She adjusted to that, see? Those ovens that self-clean and all that, I used to have to clean the oven. That was
I'm sure.
No, but you know, those kinds of things, we can let go of our memories when they're convenient to us, but we have a tendency to dig in on things that we prefer, like where we sit in church. You know, that's people have had to give that up, because now some people used to sit in rows that are taped off and they can't be there anymore. We had to surrender that, otherwise we would be miserable during this time. Well, that's a good memory to let go. So when you come back, don't fall back into don't bind yourself up with the same chains. Look at things the same way. Look at what God is doing. And because the scriptures say God is not a God of recreating, he's a God of creating. He makes all things new. All things new, see. And who you are today, God wants to recreate and make you newer tomorrow. Well, if you want to camp out back here, God's going to keep on moving down the trail. See? God's always on the move, just like Abraham, always on the move, always on the move. The best is yet to come. And in that sermon, one of the things in there is God's always challenging us to reach and to risk. The promised land for Abraham and the promised land for us. It's out there somewhere. It's beyond us. And only God knows where it is. See? We tend to think, well, I know where it is, I'm going to camp out right here. And when you start camping out, when you start living in your memories, when you start living in yesterday and resist moving into God's new tomorrow, when you resist moving into today, when you resist moving into post-COVID, you know, you're going to be miserable. You're just going to be miserable, because the world is going to be very different when we come out of this thing. Very different, particularly for churches, I think. The whole idea that we're all out there in the virtual stuff. Well, that wasn't there before COVID. It was out there, we just weren't there. Well, now we're there, and we're doing, when COVID's through with, we'll do all the virtual stuff, which is bigger now than the in-person. We'll do the virtual and the in-person side by side. And they'll complement each other. They're not a threat to each other, they complement each other. We're not going to unplug the virtual stuff to go back into our memories of how things used to be. You know? I used to be able to run 15 miles. Emphasis on used to. Used to. Now I'm sucking for wind after 15 steps. So you walk up those stairs every day. So things change.
Things change. And
so
you
if I
have
want
to
live
adapt.
I have to adapt. You got to steady be going with it. You got to be adapting. Got to be adapting. And I like one of the things about that Abraham story is God doesn't call him to go on a journey until he's 75.
I know. Well, if that isn't eye-opening, right?
Amen. And, you know, we have lots of folks that are over 75. And most of them are camping out. R-E-T-I-R-E-D.
One of my favorite John Piper sermons talks about we're not called to pick up shells. And he tells a story of this couple that retire in Florida, and their goal in retirement is every day just to pick up shells. That walk on the beach and collect shells. And so then
What are
he
you gonna do with
goes
the shells?
into, well, that's what then he goes into, you can't take those with you, like, you know, but how we can focus on this is ideal, this is the way I want to live, but we're not called to do that. Retirement's not scriptural.
Yeah.
That we're supposed to keep moving, and we have a different ministry.
We had a gentleman die in the congregation, and he left a lot of things to the church, and so we got this pictorial inventory of the things in his house, you know. And everything in the house meant something to him. It was hooked to something of value, you know. But when you looked at them, you wonder what was that about? And if it didn't have a meaning for you, see, then it ends up in God's goods or somewhere, because it doesn't have a value that transcends, and that transcends time and transcends people and individuals and stuff. And that's the teaching, that everything that we have here, none of it has a value that transcends time. None of it. Moth and rust, thieves break in and steal. They're not really treasures. We treasure a lot of things, but ultimately are junk.
That's true.
Just saying.
It's true. That's true.
That's true.
Yeah.
When you look at it through eyes that are not running through the filter of memory, a lot of what we gather around doesn't have a value. Doesn't have a value. Okay. Does that unpack that enough there?
Well done.
What could I say?
Well done. I commend you because a lot of people and a lot of rectors in your position have not done that forward movement and adjusting.
Most
So
of my
I commend
friends,
you.
most of my friends can't wait till they're 65. They're so sad. Can't wait till they're 65. When I was 65, thinking back a little bit, I was really just getting going. I was about
Yeah.
in third
That's
gear,
true.
something like that. I was another whole gear to go. Yeah.
I think all that's happened in that time span too.
So really,
I mean, huge growth
here in the
in
parish,
so many areas.
because I'm 65 and now 77, be 78 this year. In those last 12 years, those of you who have been here in the parish, that think of all that's happened in the last 12 years. Whoa. God is great. God is great.
So thank you for your
If I didn't keep working,
ability to adjust.
yeah, got to. That's how your mom and I'll be celebrating 50 years here, March the 6th.
I know.
Been a lot of adjusting.
Love the picture you shared.
Hey, autographs available.
That was funny after the chapel service when you said that somebody came up to you and said, "Who was that in the picture with Becky?"
That's cold. That's cold. That's cold. But yeah, things change. Things change. And the thing is, you can see change as bad or you can see change as good. I've always seen it as good because I know that God's at work in it. And I see it as good, not because at the moment I think it's good, but because I have faith in God that tells me He wants more for me than I want for myself. And so I look at it through God's eyes. I don't know, it looks like hell right now, but I have to see this as good because God's sovereign over the whole thing. Just a different way of looking at things. But I tell you, you can sleep at night when you look at things that way.
That's true.
Not everybody can.
That's true.
Working on that sermon in the night, Nicodemus coming and all that, and there's a part in there where I talk about that one of the things that I hope for when I go home in the evening time is that I'll be at peace within myself and I can lay my head down and be able to sleep. And a lot of people can't sleep at night. They're not at peace, and they fight the sheets and all the rest of it all night long, see? Because if you're not at peace when you lay down at night, every problem you got is magnified at night.
That is so
Every
true.
problem. Every hill is steeper, Every valley is deeper. Every problem is bigger.
That is so true.
How do you know? You don't have problems.
No.
Yeah. You just
We all
ease.
do.
You just ease along.
No, we all do. But you're right. At night, that's when you
Yeah.
really wrestle, like Jacob. That was at night.
Yeah. You got to take care of your business in the daytime. But anyway, that's a pretty good sermon. I'm about to finish it.
Very good. So you're working on a couple of things.
Oh, I always keep a few things
Yes.
going there.
The report and the next sermon coming up, and Pastor Kevin is starting a Wednesday night teaching series, 5 weeks in Exodus chapters 1 through 12, I believe.
That's right.
So that'll be good.
Moses. First part.
I just finished Exodus in my reading through the Bible.
Do you have anything you want to share or
really
any
good.
questions you want to ask?
Talking about the tabernacle
The tabernacle.
and the details.
And the
Oh
details.
my goodness.
Yep.
So amazing. Yeah. And then in my Bible study, we're talking about David and his plans for the temple. So
And then Jesus had a different plan.
he did. Tearing it down.
Yep.
Yeah.
And this becomes the temple. But that's another story too. So.
Well, that could be a future sermon.
Well, it could be. It could be. But the future one after this, after in the night, is in the garden. And I'm going to get into that whole idea of what happened in that garden of Gethsemane after the Last Supper. Go unpack that a little bit. In the garden.
So that'll be during Lent.
Both of them are in Lent. Lent starts next Wednesday, you know.
Yes, Ash Wednesday service. Okay, we are not doing ashes.
Couldn't figure out how to do that.
Yeah,
without
your
getting
arm's
within
about
6
what?
feet. 3.
3 feet.
They got some of those NBA basketball players, so
Now, that's
they got
true.
an arm.
LeBron James could probably
They got an arm.
do ashes for us. Well, he's not. We don't have him here right
No,
now.
we don't.
So, but we are having a service,
We'll do the Ash Wednesday meditations.
but online only. So from here, it'll
Tom
be,
Tom and Jonathan and I will be doing that. Jonathan will have a meditation. We'll be doing the prayers and the Ash Wednesday readings from the prayer book. And I think it'll be fine.
and that'll be
It
at
is, you know,
noon, and then replayed again at 7. Correct?
and it'll be on the webpage so they can see it anytime. But you know, that's one of those things. If we're in a different time, surrender your memories. You have to adapt. You know, and if we can't put the ashes on your head like we would normally do, then we'll say the prayers like people have done for centuries. Putting the ashes on somebody's head is not a mandated thing for an Ash Wednesday service. That's an option. Communion is an option for that. What's not optional are the prayers that we'll be saying. And those are prayers that have been around for centuries. So that's what we'll be doing.
So in the past, here's another memory. In the past, we've always done, and we always had this growing up at our small church, and I looked forward to it actually, Shrove Tuesday pancake dinner. So make pancakes at home, but man, growing up in our parish hall, those men would start frying that bacon and the sausage.
We would do it at the parish hall over on the historic
Yeah,
campus.
we did it at the historic campus, and then
And we've done it here too.
done it at the school as well. But that was a really fond memory growing up. But you can do it at home.
The memory's about the fellowship.
That's true.
It's about the fellowship. So, and it's the family, the congregational family gathering around a meal. And it's the same concept as the altar and communion. It's the same idea, fellowshipping around a meal. Not to go, but to sit down.
How did that tradition start, though, in the church about pancakes the day before Ash Wednesday? Is it to indulge in the sweet and savory and everything
Because Lent's
before Lent?
Lent's a time of giving up and, you know, the idea
Sacrifice.
of the sweet and the fatty kinds of things and all that kind of stuff. You know, Mardi Gras and all that is that same
Fat
idea.
Tuesday.
Blow it out, you know, before you go into hibernation. And that's what they're doing.
Sure.
So.
Okay, so last week we did not make an announcement, and people are wondering what's going on.
I have my days mixed up.
It's out of your hands, actually.
However,
Oh, you really did have your days mixed up? Sorry.
however, all will soon be revealed.
Okay, can you give one more hint? Last week it was the number 3.
It was a really big hint
That
when you find out where it is. That's a
Not
really
directly.
big.
The church is not directly
That's right.
involved, so it's not a church
Give you
announcement.
another hint.
Okay,
4.5.
4.5, 3 and 4.5. Okay,
3 and 4.5, all will be revealed. All will be, it all.
So stay tuned. We'll put it on Facebook once we can.
And, yeah. And it will be revealed in my thing Sunday evening.
This is true. Okay.
It'll be revealed there too. So 3 and 4.5, sleep easy.
Don't wrestle over this.
No, don't wrestle over it. Don't stay awake about all that. No. Good though.
Oh, hi, Regina.
Talked to Regina this morning. She's over there in Austria.
That's what she's saying, that
Eating strudel and chocolate.
the tech makes it possible for her to be present with her family, yet still present with us.
Mm-hmm. She was in that
what a
Zoom
blessing.
meeting.
We had a Zoom meeting yesterday, and she was talking about driving on the Autobahn in the snow.
Whoa. But that's, that idea of all the tech people getting together on Monday afternoon, reviewing the tech stuff from the previous week, looking for better ways to do things. That's great. That's great.
It's fun too.
Mm-hmm. That's great.
It's great to work with people that you enjoy being with. So that's a gift.
Were y'all celebrating yesterday that I found the X?
Yes. We actually were.
We actually were.
Everybody said, you nailed it.
Yeah.
You guys don't realize how.
Tell them what it is. Tell them what that is.
So at Cross Point, there's a lot of movement and everything going on with the stage. Here, you walk up to the pulpit, you preach, you get down, you go to the altar. It's pretty basic. But at Cross Point, there's a lot of moving parts and a lot of people on stage.
All the band people.
10 of y'all.
Like that. Yeah.
So last week, Josh Hicks and I marked the spot where, when you pray at the end of your sermon, where you need to shift.
One step to the left, one step forward.
Up. Yes.
And that gets the podium out of the camera shot. So Marissa can grab the podium.
So for in-person people, it does not matter. Your eyes are closed.
Yeah. But for the people online.
For Regina, who's watching online.
Who are watching for errors.
The little details are important.
Yeah.
So you nailed it.
Y'all didn't think the old boy could do that, did you? Steal,
Well,
trap
no,
memory
it's
up
not
here.
that we didn't think you could do it. It was that when you're preaching, there's so much that you're trying to deliver that it's more like you're going to forget that that's necessary. Not necessary, but that's a request.
Forget.
Sorry.
The young chaps that preach might forget.
Oh, so the challenge is
But
for
the
Jonathan
old boy.
this weekend.
Jonathan, Kevin, those fellas, they might forget. But the old boy, he got it now. Stored away.
There you go.
However, I did forget something. Jason had asked me to tell people after it was over with, if they wanted to learn something about tech, what all went, that I could give them an invitation to go up to the booth and be with him. But I forgot that.
So you did forget something.
Well, see, really, I didn't forget. What I asked Jason to do was up in the back to give me a signal. He forgot to give the signal. And
Just
so
threw you under the
consequently,
bus, Jason. He stood on a stool.
he stood on a stool in the dark up there. How am I supposed to say that? Gee
Well,
whiz.
then give the invitation now.
Oh, yeah. It takes a ton of volunteers
It really
to
does.
put on our worship services. A ton of volunteers. And it really is spiffy, all the stuff that has to go on over there. When you're streaming these services, streaming here is pretty easy because you don't have but two people involved in it, and they're right here. So that streaming is pretty easy here. But over there,
But we still need more people.
over there you don't have all the lighting stuff that you don't have here, you don't have to worry about. The different positions, the different kinds of microphones, all that music stuff, that screen up in the back that's shooting stuff all around. There's a lot there. And then the ushers and greeters and sign in and all the rest of that too. So the idea, it's neat to watch all the technology stuff and the people pushing the buttons and all the rest of that. Some people might, if you knew what was going on, you might want to be a part of it. So that's the idea. So we always need volunteers. Yeah.
And I think the great part of it is, if you have a teachable spirit, you can learn how to do this stuff.
A teachable spirit is the same thing as surrendering your memories.
That is true. And I've learned so much in the past almost 12 months with the technology from just Jason and Josh and Jordan just sitting and listening. And they're all excellent teachers. So you can do it.
Yep.
And they will help you do it. They're not going to just put you behind the computer and say, do it.
Right.
They're right there with you.
Right.
And you're shadowing for a while.
And Drew helps with that some.
Drew does, but he's about to go to college. So we need some more Drews.
We need to build teams.
Yeah.
That
So
have
volunteering is
multiple people.
vital in so many ministries. So if you want to learn something new, like Tom Henderson takes Spanish class at USCB. If you want to learn something new, it's never too late.
Habla español.
Very good.
Do you know where the bathroom is? Habla español.
No habla español, baño.
You know,
No habla.
I have to get a lot of mileage out of my one phrase.
Tom, if you're watching, give him another phrase.
I get a lot of mileage out of it. But, you know, that's like Becky's daddy, you know, Dottie with the sign language. That was the only sign he knew.
Pretty much. No.
That was it. That was the sign right there. Becky can do it, though.
Mm-hmm. Dottie might be watching. She tunes in.
Well, you do sign, too.
A little bit. But it's just like anything else. If you
Un petit mot.
Oh, you know French. Do you know more French than you do Spanish?
Un petit mot.
One phrase. Has Regina taught you any German?
Achtung. Means stop.
Okay.
So if she starts talking German, I just say Achtung.
Give him one phrase when you come back.
Yeah, that's all you do. You can, I could make something go because there's a lot about your hands and expression on your face, and what you write on that piece of paper helps too. So anyway, now they got apps on the phones. I'm sure you can do
Yes,
that kind of
that's
that
true.
kind of thing.
You can. There's a Translate app.
Yeah, you just hit that app right there, and the person speaks Spanish, and you look at it, and there's the English translation. I can do that. I surrender my memories. I'm there.
What else you want us to know this week? Heading into the weekend, watch the Rector's report.
Mm-hmm. Sunday at 7. Be faithful in worship. And in your Bible studies and in your prayers. That's it. And in helping somebody else. Keep the food bank in mind. God's Goods will be opening up in March. They'll need volunteers for that, I believe. You can contact Kim and her whole outfit over there, and Rod and Shell working with the food bank. Those are big. Cross Schools need substitute teachers.
Yes, Cross Schools does need substitute teachers.
So there's an opportunity there for those of you who love children, and perhaps you have a background in teaching or helping in some kind of way.
Cross Kids needs
Cross Kids
volunteers.
needs that. Tim needs that with his ministries to the youth, and starting that new young adult ministry.
I was just talking to him. They're trying to come up with a name right now, but they're starting to meet every other Sunday at the Mission Mall, starting the 28th. After service, I think they're going to have lunch together, and excited about that. YAM.
Young adult ministry.
I don't think so. I think they want something a little bit cooler than that.
May. That's YAM spelled backwards. You're slow today, are you?
What'd you have for breakfast?
Oh boy, you know what I had for breakfast today? I had your mama scrambled eggs,
So good.
and she had some leftover steak, so she cut that up and heated that up. And
You had steak and
I
eggs.
had steak and eggs, and she always gives me some fruit. And today was bananas and pineapple. And then I have my mason jar full of vitamins and the orange juice. So the vitamins and orange juice, fruit varies. Sometimes you have strawberries in there. Sometimes it's blueberries. Anyway, whatever it is that she has. Pretty steady with the bananas. But anyway, there's fruit and vitamins. And then eggs of some kind, and then meat of some kind. Sometimes it's bacon, sometimes it's ham. Steak's been a long, and that's been
So
a
that
long
extra
time.
vitamin this morning gave you a punch.
I tell you, you can't keep this body going on air. You got to come with it now. Yes, your mama always has a good breakfast. And she has my sandwich all made to go right in my bag when I leave.
Aren't you blessed? Truly.
Man, I know it.
Yeah.
Gave me 2 cookies this morning. That you
They're
made,
good,
I
aren't
think.
they?
That you made, I think.
Yes.
So,
Oh, you got cookies in your lunch today?
2.
She's trying to get them out of the house.
2 cookies. So.
Yeah, they are very good. All right. Well, since you're so enthusiastic today, we're going to let you go and get back to the rector's report,
Which would be helpful.
which would be helpful. So go in peace to love and serve the Lord. Thanks
Thanks
be to God.
And all that we do here, know that God loves you, and I love you too. See you when I see you.